Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is back with her chapter by chapter review. I want to let y'all know that I am going to be pausing some of my chapter reviews. I'm going to be pausing the Reigns chapter by chapter review just because there has been a new release in the last week or so. Dive into and kind of like just give you guys something good. Also, on top of that, I felt like reading a fantasy. If you guys are new to my channel, you'll know that Kayla just kind of reads and does whatever she wants. A little sassy. I would like to introduce you guys to this big bad boy. It's over 1,000 pages. Alchemised. We're going to be diving into this for probably a few weeks, up to a month of me like releasing the videos. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm sorry. It is literally like 2 or 3 a.m. and I accidentally dropped that giant book. Oh my god. So I feel so bad for the neighbors because they heard that, but I hope they didn't. Oh my god. I am actively panicking. Okay, but anyway, let's get on to it. I had with the rain, I got my little notes, and we're going to be talking about it. Also, at any point you disagree with me, please share with me. Please comment, like, do it up. I'll take any sort of critiques. I'm not against that. But the book that I read today is called Alchemized, and it's by Sin Lee Yu. And from my understanding, she is a Japanese, like half Japanese America from Fort Oregon. Initially, this was a fanfic of Harry Potter. It's just like a reimagined version of the initial fanfic that had Harry Potter and continuation of the Harry Potter series, but it's from the perspective of what if Voldemort won, basically. So pretty much I read the first 2 chapters of this novel and I was instantly like, basically in a nutshell, like Helen kind of like wakes up from this kind of like sleep that's in like this kind of like tank. I don't really know, but you know those tanks that are in like Star Wars? That's instantly what I thought, like what type of tank she would have been in. I don't know. But like, are on a journey with her as she's basically being constantly tortured. A female doctor called Dr. Troud like comes in and kind of like removes her from it and then starts interrogating her because there is something up with her brain, like the restructuring and rewiring of her brain. No, doctor was like literally like literally like fangirling. Like it was disturbing. Basically, yeah, it was that. And then also the female doctor is a so there's necromancers in this world, and there's Venomancers, and so necromancers is like controlling the dead. And Vegamancers are people who can control the living. So they could basically just straight up off you if they wanted to. Keep in mind, I am not a fancy girly. Like I said, I try to like give people, straight up like reviews, authentic reviews and their work because I think every story should have that chance to kind of like be critiqued and also stand trial. One is considered a bystander. That was kind of my initial thought, like a bystander character. So I was like kind of like thinking about this over and over again. I was like, she tends to have things happen to her and she doesn't really show any resistance. Like there's not like her trying to like get off of the table and be like, nah, I ain't doing this.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad! You keep digging!
Right? Like there's just no resistance towards these people that she clearly hates. which pulls into question, does Helen actually hate these people? A lot of people are gonna get mad at me and be like, "You're a hater, Kayla. You're a hater." But I'm just, I'm just acting because our character is just not really acting how a character should act when they hate somebody. Just saying. But yeah. Anyway, and I was thinking to myself, I was really thinking about it, and I was like, "Oh, she's a passive character. That's what it is." And there's really nothing that you really know about her family or background, which I think is a part of the whole entire like idea that it's initially was fan fiction, but I wish that they added more. Like there's like a whole setting, there's a whole section where like the only like cultural like background thing that you vaguely know about any of the characters is like what regions that they're from, but my I'm so confused because again, I'm not really a Harry Potter fan. I'm just so confused because I feel like if you're gonna separate this from the art, this should stand. It should be able to stand without the art. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just bloody confused. I'm just bloody confused, y'all. And I think that's literally until this gets good, because I heard it gets good. Um, I'm just bloody confused, y'all. So just bear with me. So I was like, she's a passive character. There's nothing really that you really know about her background. Besides, I would say like there's like a whole like thing about her like knowing accents and where people are coming from. Like someone will have a northern accent, someone will have an eastern accent, etc. But it's like east what, north what? I'm just confused. It feels a lot of people are going to get mad at me about this, but it feels a little bit like a self insert character. I'm not going to lie. Helen is just so plain that you can literally just be her. But I'm not hating on the people who like those type of books. I'm just saying, personally, for me, I don't like characters that don't have really any substance. I feel like it's boring. I can't, like, yes, you can imagine yourself in these scenarios, but I just prefer to read a book with different perspectives. I like to be changed and moved. I don't know. I had a rant on TikTok, guys. Yep, I'm gonna plug myself. Yep, I'm gonna advocate for myself. I'm gonna put it up there. But yes, I have a whole rant about like how we read on Book Talk, how we read on BookTube. It's not really as bad on BookTube as it is on Book Talk, but it's like how we read. I have a whole rant. I'm debating if I want to post it on YouTube, which I might do it. I might edit some few stuff here or there, but try to keep its like authentic form. So I may do that in the next few days. But anyway, I was like, to be fair, I was like, Helen is traumatized. Like you kind of have these like scenes where she's like straight up like kind of like remembering like the bath of like her brother in um that were like a part of the resistance. And yes, it's literally called the resistance. It's the most boringest name ever, in my opinion. But and I can understand like her feeling helpless and stuff like that. Like any character would, but I just feel like she's super passive. But anyway, some of the themes and ideas that I got from this survival and control. It's one of the two main themes. You can see the people in power kind of like trying to keep control by basically like undead people walking around. So there's Nerathrals and there's like undead people, and then there's Greys, and there's a whole thing. And the world building is confusing to me, but I'm gonna get to the world building in a second. And so there's a miniature part in chapter 1 where we basically meet this character named Grace, and she basically drops a whole bunch of world building, and it's basically she's like, hey babes, like I would rather give my eye to have my family have something to eat, to have my family have some stable housing. Like in my opinion, that's a very reasonable explanation for why you would do what you do. Literally, like Helen's like, no, don't do that. You shouldn't sacrifice yourself or your body parts in order to have like freedom or whatever. And Grace is like, girl, you weren't even there. You let all the bad things happen. And initially, when I first read that part, I was kind of like, okay, like, what did Helen do? And I was like, oh, she did nothing. Okay, anyway, so that's kind of like some of the moral like dilemmas that are really explored, or the one part where I feel like has like nuance that you're like, damn, you're like, she knows what she's talking about. Grace knows what she's talking about. And then I want to explore writing and the writing style. Say honestly, it's slow, but I've read stuff online that says like it doesn't get good until like page like 100 or something like that. So this is gonna be a long ride of Kayla just being like, world building is mostly what this story is so far. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't know the characters. I don't really know their backgrounds. Um, I feel like the tone is like super dark and like passive slash like literary norm. I'm gonna have that word up there. Sorry for pronunciation being bad. Jesus Christ. So basically I think so far with just the little that I've read, I think a lot of people like this book because it's like dark and edgy. People love that aesthetic, which good for you. I like that aesthetic too. I just like it in goth horror. Anyhow, I'm not throwing any shade. I just want to let y'all know I'm not throwing any shade on the people who like this book. For me, from what I can tell, there's again a whole bunch of undead people in mines and like some humans, some grays walking around. I'm just generally confused because the world building is done in such a way where it's just dropped in random places. I want to explore just my general like reactions to this. And I'm going to say most of the time I was honestly bored. I felt like there was just extreme levels of torture and violence that I feel like wasn't really necessary. She is with the enemy that's controlling the society. You know what I'm saying? I think there was ways to really get that point across and just have her show some sort of resistance and like getting pushed back like once, and she just doesn't do. And there's nothing really going on besides world building, like I said. And Helen just feels like a plain Jane. She feels like that type of character, but she's just not self-aware. Like she's written in such a way where she's like a badass. Sorry, my language. She's written in such a way where she's like, I'm the best. I'm that girl. And I'll leave you guys with a question. And I'm assuming some of you guys have read this book. I'm assuming some of you guys haven't. Do you think that Helen is going to really fight back? Like, do you, and how do you think she's going to fight back? Is she going to continue to let the plot drive the story, or do you think her character is really going to like take initiative in chapter 3 and chapter 4? So yeah, lovelies, thank you so much for watching. And again, please don't hate on me. I'm just giving my honest opinions on my thoughts of chapter 1 and chapter 2. Hopefully you guys can stay tuned for chapter 3 and chapter 4. I'm probably going to be in the same hoodie when I'm doing it. But baby girls, thank you so much for being here, and bye.